What is going on, everybody? And I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday so far. This is MYG Jeffy T85 here, and I have breaking news surrounding the New York Mets. As we all know, the New York Mets this offseason had a bunch of free agents that were going to be going into this offseason. Obviously, we heard about the news that broke earlier with the New York Mets, as it seems like Chris Bassett is going to decline his 2023 mutual option of $19 million, and he's going to become an unrestricted free agent going into the offseason, as well as the Mets. Looks like they're going to pick up the team option for first baseman / DH Daniel Vogelback's $1.5 million mutual option, and he will return with the team in 2023. Well, the New York Mets had three big free agents that they needed to worry about trying to sign this offseason, being Edwin Diaz, Jacob deGrom, and Brandon Nimmo. Today, the New York Mets ended up signing one of those big free agents, as today, the New York Mets have locked up closer Edwin Diaz to a historic 5-year deal worth $102 million that was broke by MLB.com's John Heyman. It is the richest deal in baseball history, as it has surpassed the 5-year $86 million deal that was signed by Aroldis Chapman a few years ago. Edwin Diaz now is going to be locked up with the New York Mets going into the 2028 season at least, but he does have a player option in 2025. He also has a $20 million team option for 2028, and he has a full no-trade clause for the New York Mets going forward. So Edwin Diaz is now going to be locked up with the New York Mets at least until 2025, after Edwin Diaz had an absolutely historic year last year for the New York Mets. A great year where he was 3-1 on the season with a 1.31 ERA for the New York Mets. He had 32 saves in 61 games started, where he pitched 62 innings, and he had 118 strikeouts with a whip of .839, and he had a WAR of 3.2. Edwin Diaz played like the best closer in Major League Baseball last year, and now he got rewarded with a big deal for the New York Mets, as Edwin Diaz will now be pitching in Queens for the New York Mets for at least the next 5 years, possibly the next couple, if in fact he keeps his team out, he doesn't opt out of his clause in 2025 for the New York Mets. So at least Edwin Diaz will be here for at least the next 3 years, from 2023 to 2025, and his deal can go all the way up to 2028. 5-year deal, $102 million. Big deal for Edwin Diaz, much well deserved. Edwin Diaz had a fantastic year for the New York Mets, so I'm not going to complain at all for this deal. He obviously was acquired in the big trade by Brodie Van Wagenen back in 2018, where the New York Mets brought him in, as well as Robinson Cano, for Jarred Kelenic, one of the biggest New York Mets prospects at the time in 2018. And now Edwin Diaz, who struggled a lot in his first couple of years, including that first year he was there where he blew 7 saves, and he had a 5.59 ERA in his first year with New York in 2018. But he has really bounced back from 2020 to this past year, where Edwin Diaz has earned the contract that he deserved. So Edwin Diaz now will be part of the New York Mets going forward. So if you guys want to hear the breaking news again, Edwin Diaz has officially signed a 5-year deal with the New York Mets for $102 million, including a team option, or a team opt-out option that can happen in 2025 if he does opt out of his contract, with a $20 million team option for 2028, and his deal has a full no-trade clause for the New York Mets going forward. So that is your breaking news surrounding the New York Mets. Edwin Diaz locked up. The Mets have come out this offseason. They've already made 3 moves. Daniel Vogelback will be back with the team in 2023 after his $1.5 million mutual option was picked up. Chris Bassett is going to decline his $19 million team option with the New York Mets, so he will be a free agent. And the New York Mets have come to terms with one of their biggest free agents this offseason, as they have signed closer Edwin Diaz to a 5-year, $102 million deal. So if you guys like this video, please hit the like button below. Sub up if you haven't already to NYG Jeffy T85 for more breaking news updates and chatter around the New York Mets. Turn the bell on for notifications on the next video or short that will be dropping surrounding the New York Mets. And let me know in the comment section what you think about this breaking news for the New York Mets as they've signed Edwin Diaz, closer Edwin Diaz, to a long-term deal to keep him in Queens for at least 2025, if in fact he does not opt out of his deal, and he could be here as long as 2028. So I thank you very much, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. I'm pumped up as a Mets fan. I'm happy to see Edwin Diaz back with the New York Mets long term. He deserves this deal. Very happy about this. Let's go New York Mets. And as always, let's go New York Mets. You always got to know, you got to believe in those New York Mets and those boys from Queens.